Hey there, wanted to come out and do another vlog today. Look at this, it's an eggplant flower. I just think eggplant flowers are always so beautiful. They have just like, I don't know, there's something about the color, they're so sweet, even though they have all these little spikes on them. Eggplants have, let's see if I can see them. Sometimes they're on the leaves too, not so much on this variety, but yeah, just beautiful. I've got another one. So this is, let's see, here's the variety of this eggplant, and it's really pretty because it has this really dark stem. I have another eggplant over here that I need to fertilize, but this is a sweet little flower too. Really beautiful. There's so many fun things happening in the garden right now. It's starting to really take off. So as you can see, the squash are starting to actually get kind of large. We've got peppers showing up on the different pepper plants. So this is my poblano that I think I need to pick this soon. I need to look at like how big it's supposed to get. But there's more little peppers. Even the lunchbox peppers here have some, I don't know if you can see, little baby peppers. And the tomatoes are starting to really take off as well. So here are some cherry tomatoes that are starting to put on fruit. As you can see, got lots of little fruit on this one. Beautiful little clusters. And then over here in the tomato bed, which has just taken off and gotten so big and gorgeous, even though these are supposed to be determinate tomatoes, so none of these are supposed to get more than like 3 or 4 feet tall, except for actually I have one indeterminate tomato. They're not supposed to get super huge, but they are really taking off. They're really growing, and it might be because they have just about full sun, but right on the edge of full sun, probably like just the 6 or 7 hours of sun. So they may be stretching just a tiny bit, but I'm starting to see tomatoes on the paste tomatoes. So I don't really see any tomatoes forming on any of these. Are like all my big like beefsteak tomatoes. I am trying to shake them and make sure that they get pollinated. But then over here, this is a paste tomato, and I just saw tomatoes on it. Where did they go? Now I can't find them. I just tied it. Oh, here they are. I just tied everything up. But there's some tomatoes starting on there. And then this is a Juliet tomato. This is my one indeterminate, and it is starting to put on like these little saladette tomatoes, which are just so beautiful. And yeah, I think this plant is going to produce a lot of tomatoes because it's already got a bunch of fruits at it. And I'm sure you've seen this everywhere, but tomatoes pollinate by the wind, so you want to you can shake the plant a little bit. It'll help to make sure you get more pollination. But anyways, the tomato plants are just looking really lovely, and I'm so happy that they are liking this spot and doing well. It's really fun to see. I've never grown, oh, I left this here. I just tied them up another time. I've never grown tomatoes in this particular bed, so it's nice to know that it is working out so well and that they're so happy in it. And a little update over here, the cucumbers that I got from the garden center are really doing well. And I'm about to get ready to try to weave them through this trellis system here. I have always resisted buying cucumber starts at garden centers and everything because I've heard that, you know, they don't really like to have their roots messed with. They don't really like to be transplanted. They're kind of like squash, where people will say like, you know, just direct sow them because they do better, and they are much happier. They'll kind of get upset if their root systems get messed with. But the last few years, I've had such issues with cucumbers, issues with germination, issues with production, just issues all across the board. And so I went ahead and bought these starts, as you might have seen in one of my last vlogs. And you know what? I'm so glad I did, because they're looking so good. They look so healthy. They're so happy. I've got a jump start on them. I love growing things from seed, and there's something really rewarding and really fun about that whole process. But this is definitely a lesson. Like, you should never feel bad about buying starts if that's what works for you. And sometimes it just makes life easier and it just makes the garden more successful, and there's nothing wrong with buying starts. We actually have some exciting news in our family. We're actually expecting baby number 2 this fall. So I know that next year I may be buying a lot more starts. Like conceivably, it may not make sense to to have, you know, a 6-month-old and a like almost 3-year-old at that point next summer when I'm doing, well, all in that time period when I'm starting seeds and everything. I may be buying a lot of starts next year, and you know, that's just like life. Sometimes you just need to do that, and sometimes it really works out. Like these cucumbers look beautiful. And my other cucumbers, I did just want to update. They're doing pretty well, actually. They are starting to come up. I did have some issues with germination, but they are starting to come up. I'm not loving the combination of dill and cucumbers in the form that I did it. I think maybe if I do this combination again, I will plant, I will plant the cucumbers, I think maybe first, and let them come up and then do the dill. But that's another, like, you live and you learn. But I mean, the dill is pretty. I do love the dill. It's just not quite how I envisioned it in my mind, but again, that just happened. The garden is just a learning process, and these things happen, and it's still beautiful in its own way. It's just not exactly what I thought it would look like, but that's also fine. So today's message is just all about adapting and making the garden work and learning and moving on. Hey there, so my daughter and I just went to the garden center, and I just picked up a few really fun flowers, and I thought I would just show you what I got real quick while they're in the car, and then once I get home and start doing some planting, I'll show you where they all are going to end up. So a couple of these are for the shade container area. You may have seen this video by the time this vlog goes out, but I got some Angelonia. This is actually a full sun plant, but it's gonna go in a pot near the shade area, and it's this super blue. Then I got one of these sun credible sunflowers. I've been thinking about getting one of these for a long time, and I finally just decided, you know what, I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna enjoy it this year. I was thinking, oh, I'll just wait till next year, but you know what, no, I'm gonna get one. So I got that and a couple of the Truffula Pink Gomphrena. I really love these. I grew one actually in a hanging basket last year, and it was kind of a fun upright centerpiece. So I'm gonna put just a couple of these in the garden beds just to add some fun and whimsy, and it's kind of that like full summer, midsummer look. I think it's really beautiful. Then for the shade area, I picked up, this is a Wedding Train burgundy coleus that will trail off the side of the shade area. And then I also got a penstemon that's gonna go in the container with the Angelonia, and I think it'll be a really pretty kind of pairing. I'm going for sort of that, whimsical summer garden look in that container, and I just need to get like one other plant. And then the big fun thing that I got was this Still Waters Clematis. I have seen these in a few different places. I think Laura from Garden Answer had one, and I saw it and I was like, I need it. So I got the very last one that they had, and I just think it's gonna be so stunning, and it's kind of the color scheme of my next year garden. I have some really fun plans for next year, but it'll still be beautiful in this garden. So I've got a pot that needs vine. I think that'll be perfect. So that was just my fun little flower haul. And we're actually heading over to another garden center. I need a couple more things, and we'll kind of look for those. And then, I'll show you that whole process. But nothing better than a beautiful summer day. It's like 75 and sunny. It's the perfect day to go to garden center. Just glorious. So girly girl and I are gonna go head to the next door. All right, so I'm back home. I'm out in the garden, and I'm getting ready to place all of these flowers that I got. So these are the ones that I showed you. This is really pretty. This is that gorgeous Suncredible sunflower, and it's gonna go right in the corner of this bed over here. Right in there. There's a few basil in here, so I'm gonna move those, just kind of transplant them And I think that'll work really well. And then this is big enough that it should be able to push out beyond the tomatoes and flower and everything, but I can always trim like a couple of these leaves back if they're just in the way a little bit. But I think it's gonna also pair really nicely with the pink of the mandavillas, and then just look pretty against all the green of the tomatoes as well. So I think that'll be really beautiful there. Then I have these Gomphrena. They're called Purple Globe, I think. I did not realize that they are actually like a mini Gomphrena, so they only get about 6 inches tall. But I have this gap in my row of zinnias, and I'm gonna put them right in here. I did seed some more, which I need to water right along here, but I think they'll kind of fill in this area really nicely, so that'll actually work out. I've got one more over here. Here's the tag. I can give you the exact name. Oh, Gnome Purple. See, I should have known. I should have read the plant tag, but I totally didn't even look at that. I just was like, oh, Gomphrena. It's huge. But then I am gonna replace this guy over here with one of the Truffula pinks. And I may put my other Truffula pink over here in the corner of that bed. I think it'd be kind of pretty to have like the steps of pink. It's always, you know, fun to try to make those spaces, you know, try to figure that out. And my clematis here, I'm gonna put in a container in this area. Got my tripod. In this area. Then I got a few things for the shade area. Oh my gosh, so many beautiful things. But I also picked up this plant. It's the amazing Amazel Basil, and I've heard about this so much. It's supposed to be like a really delicious, huge, prolific, beautiful basil that doesn't lose its taste. Like if it flowers, you don't have to worry about it. I think I'm actually gonna put this up on my patio, perhaps, and I paired it with this. So I have never tried one of these whirlwind blues, and so I kind of wanted to just get it as a test because I think it's actually really pretty, and I'd love to use it maybe in some more hanging baskets next year, but I just have never grown it before, so I thought I would just get one to underplant the basil, and that would be really super beautiful. And then also it would be just interesting. I can test out the flower. And then all of these guys are for my shade project, so you'll see all those in that video. But some really fun, beautiful things there. So I just got to get all this planted, move the basils, or move the little basils over, yeah, and put that sunflower in. I think that's gonna really add to the space to have a sunflower. That's the vision. And yeah, I'm gonna get going on that. All right, so it's a little hard to see right now because it's so bright out, but there is the sunflower planted. I just need to water everything in. I've got the drip system on right now. And then here's the Gomphrena in here, and the little Gomphrenia's moved to the front. I feel like this is so much better. So much more what I needed. I need to come in here and get out some of these leaves that are falling down and making a mess, because those will just bring the slugs in. Those don't do anything to help. But yeah, it's fun to see the garden bed starting to take shape. So I put one Gomphrena over there in the corner. That'll be really pretty. And then one Gomphrena here. Fun development. I saw that my dahlia is about to bloom. You can see some little buds right there, which is exciting. And I've got another dahlia right here that is getting big and looking like it might be starting to bloom too. So really exciting. Just kind of watering everything, even though it's the middle of the day. It's when I can get out here, so it's when I'm going to water. I'm going to hand water these containers a little bit. Some of these tomatoes are looking a little dry, so get those watered. And yeah, that's a good day in the garden. I'm so excited about this. I'm so happy. Yay. Hey, so I'm out here about to harvest a little bit of the basil that I picked up. This was the Amazel basil I got from the garden center. I'm just gonna pick it right above like a leaf node where you can see the two little leaves are coming out, these will turn into new branches, and this will actually just make my bush of basil even bigger and happier and produce more basil for us to enjoy. So it's all a benefit when you harvest basil. It's like the best thing to do is just to harvest as much as you can. It smells so good. The smell of basil is like the smell of summer. It's so delicious. So what I'm making tonight for dinner is actually just like spaghetti sauce. I just got a jar of like Rouse spaghetti sauce, and there's nothing super special about it, but I'm going to put this basil in it, and I feel like it just adds that little bit of a little bit of something. Like it makes it more special and it just tastes better. If I have tomatoes, like fresh tomatoes or something, I'll often add those too, just to kind of bring a little bit of the fresh garden flavor and everything into the garden, and it's really good. So even if you haven't like made your whole entire tomato sauce from scratch, go ahead and add in some basil, add in some fresh tomatoes. You'll be amazed at how much it actually helps the whole helps the whole thing, and it tastes just wonderful. So I could just like, I need to get a basil candle. That's what I need to get for my house for summer. I need to just have all basil candles. Oh, I want to show you one other thing while I'm out here. So I noticed that one of my gypsy sweet peppers has like put on a full pepper. So I think it needs to ripen to like a yellow or a red. So I got to keep an eye on that. And then over here, I've got a poblano that's getting bigger and bigger. And the second one is coming up. So I'm hoping that maybe I can hold off on picking this one until this is a little bit bigger and I can make like some stuffed peppers or something. But right now I'm gonna go take this basil in and I'll show you what I'm throwing it into. I'm also gonna grab just a little bit of this oregano. This is a golden oregano, but I feel like oregano also really adds to a tomato sauce. And so I just have a Rouse vodka sauce and nothing fancy about it, absolutely nothing special. I've put in a little bit of sausage and a couple peas, and then I'm just gonna chop up this basil and the oregano, and I'm just gonna throw it right into the tomato sauce and just kind of let that cook down, and then I can add in the pasta when it's done, and it'll be just delicious and really just melds into the flavors. I don't really find that it's ever a problem of like contrasting flavors. It always just tastes good and it just adds a little something extra, which is kind of nice, and you feel like you're utilizing your garden produce. So even if you have a small garden, like I was saying, and you don't have a huge harvest to make an entire sauce, you still are utilizing the things that you're growing in your garden, and that's just that much more delicious. I popped back out after dinner and I realized something that was going on my eggplants. You can see there's all these little spider mites on them. So I just treated it with an organic pest control thing to hopefully take care of some of that pressure. I was noticing the discoloration of the leaves and I thought that maybe it was a fertilizer issue, but I didn't take a closer look. I'm sorry if you can hear the neighbors' kids are like yelling and screaming about something. I don't know what's going on. But anyways, I noticed that there was something going on, but I just like didn't take a closer look, and it's such a reminder to really look closely. I ended up going ahead and treating this plant, and I think it's gonna be much better off. I also just treated my dahlias. So these got absolutely riddled with spider mites last year, and I'm gonna try to stay on top of it better. This was a good reminder that I need to just really keep an eye on it and keep after it. I am gonna come out and fertilize around these plants. I think tomorrow maybe put like just some plant tone in around these eggplants because they've been hit pretty hard. And the dahlias are starting to get pressure, and then I'm gonna try to get on like a weekly spraying schedule, and it just, you just end up having to spray some things if you want to have them. I found I did not have an issue with any bugs on my eggplants last year. I had them in this other bed like right over here, and I am thinking that that's probably because they were all on the dahlias, and then now that I planted these eggplants next to the dahlia, the like spider mites jumped over onto the dahlia or something like that. So I'm gonna keep an eye on like spraying everything. But yeah, gosh, I can't believe I missed all these spider mites. I actually was like editing another video, and I was watching it and I noticed I picked up a leaf and you could like see all the spider mites on it, but I just didn't even see it. So gosh, I'm gonna have to really stay on top of that. I also noticed that I was like moving the camera around so fast, so much. I'm so sorry if that was hard for you guys to watch. Oh no, the air conditioner turned on. I'm gonna try to be better about that too, but I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning. So I'm just sitting out here enjoying the garden. I did a little bit of fertilizing around the eggplants, and I'm kind of just taking a moment to take in and enjoy everything. I'm getting ready to pot a few pots up, do a couple more containers. I've been having a lot of fun recently planning my garden for the next year, which is kind of funny. But about this time of year, I always start thinking about like, oh, next year I could do these colors. I could, you know, do kind of like this or that in the garden. I don't know if any of you do that, like always future planning. We're gonna get a thunderstorm today. It looks like it's kind of starting to get that feel. You can feel the humidity in the air and the pressure. So I just want to make sure that everything's kind of buttoned up. It's such a mixed blessing, the rain, because I really do feel like we're starting to get a little bit of a depletion in some of the nutrients, like in some of my containers, and I'm starting to really look into more like slow release fertilizers. You know, I'm realizing that during these rainy springs that we have, my containers do usually struggle a little bit, and I'm thinking that maybe it's because the water's just washing it out and it's harder to fertilize when there's you know, just so much rain that, like, you know, you don't want to give these plants more water and more water soluble fertilizer. So water soluble fertilizer is usually my go-to, and now I'm starting to think I need to add more of a slow release in the containers. I do usually do like some plant tone or something like that, but yeah, I'm looking into more about that and kind of trying to research. As I'm sitting here, I want to show you something super fun. It's a pink variegated lemon. So the lemons of this plant will have pink flesh, and it's putting on a bunch of new growth, which is so fun to see. I started a few lemons from seed, from just like grocery store lemon seeds. You might have seen the video. I have one of them right here. Cute little lemon start. Look at that. It's got a little bit of fungus going on, but not too bad. And I actually moved a couple of them that I started inside just because I wanted to make sure that I could kind of take care of them inside and test out growing inside. This lemon plant will go back inside in the winter, but for right now it's living out here, and I'm so happy to see that it is putting on new growth and looking pretty happy. It's so beautiful with the variegation. Don't mind this hose. The hose is always out. I try my best, but like the hose is always out. And these are the bubblegum, Super Tunia bubblegum, if you're wondering. They're so beautiful. This container is working its way. It's another one that's not exactly what I envisioned, but I need to get some fertilizer or something going on with it. But I did put this together in a video, and hopefully I can give you kind of like an update on it a little later in the summer when I get it more filled out. But I just wanted to focus on this beautiful lemon. Oh, and the tiny tomato. How cute are these? People always get worried about me growing tomatoes in these tiny containers, but these micro tomato plants are so fun because they can grow in teeny tiny little pots. I mean, they're just like little short little plants, and so they're perfectly happy in teeny tiny little pots, which is always yeah, just so fun. So anyways, I guess I'm gonna get to doing some planting. Maybe I'll do a video of the containers that I'm planting. Be kind of fun to show you guys. And yeah, just enjoying the garden, trying to sit out here and spend a little time and really be present. I feel like that's when you really notice what's going on. Like I never would have noticed those new lemon leaves today if I hadn't just taken the time to kind of sit down and enjoy. Gotta have a chair in the garden. Oh, and some stuff for the pests. Doing a little bit of everything today, but sitting mostly. And I'm not gonna sweep up because it's gonna rain today, so there's no point to sweep in the garden. Hey, so I am out here. I'm gonna finish up this vlog this week with an exciting harvest of a tomato. So this is the first tomato of the year, the first ripe tomato that we've had, and it actually came from the upside down hanging basket that I've got. She just dropped it in oh no, it just dropped it in the container pond. Hopefully the fishes like tomatoes. But let me show you this upside down tomato container. So the upside down container is where that first ripe tomato actually came from, which is kind of exciting. So that actually came from, I think it was called like Husky Cherry. It was a variety that I got at Lowe's. So I think it actually is a determinate. They had labeled it indeterminate, so I wasn't sure how big it was gonna get, but I just put it in the upside down hanging basket just to kind of yeah, to kind of see. So let me show you what it's looking like. So here's the container. I have a few other, like this is like cherry falls and patio, so hopefully these will start spilling and putting on tomatoes. And then down here is a little hanging basket. It's got a little bit of mess. I probably should like clean it up a little bit, but that's where that first ripe tomato came from. So super exciting. Feels like summer. We've got tomatoes ripening and there's a bunch more. Anyways, that's where I'm going to leave this vlog, and I'll pick it back up with what's happening next week in the garden and share what we're doing, and hopefully the fish are enjoying that tomato. I somehow think they won't be, but hope you're having a great day in your garden, and I'll talk to you next one. Bye-bye.